Beautiful. Thank you all. It was great to have some children and youth choir alumni from All Souls with us on the trip. And as you could see, they got all the young people singing. They taught them songs. They learned songs from them. And it was just such a wonderful. The colors, of course, were beautiful. And as you can see, people with colors and their lives were just so full of color. And one of the things that was interesting about this trip and about being in Guatemala was that they have this spirituality. The Mayan people have this spirituality that is rooted in both their human experience, also in nature, but then also in the supernatural, and particularly ancestors. So that wherever we were, there were rituals that were going on that were sacrifices to the ancestors. This happened inside a Catholic church, which is one of the most unique experiences that I've ever seen. Within the life of a Catholic church, in Chichicastenango, Guatemala, they also allow the pagan shamans to lead rituals on the floor on these cement blocks. And so they're burning sacrifices and saying prayers in the local language. Ancient pre-Columbian, before Christopher Columbus came to this part of the world, rituals that coexist inside the same Catholic church, which was amazing. And then when the church was closed, right there on the steps in front of the church, all day and all night, there would be people with incense and rituals happening. People would come and they would want to connect with their ancestors in one way or another. And these shamans would help them to do a ritual that would always involve some fire and some burning of things. And they would maybe have a question for their ancestor that they wanted to ask, or they wanted to bless their ancestor or be blessed. And so this happened wherever we went. And when we came to the village that first day, they blessed the land, and they blessed the children and the future, and they blessed the project and this building that we were about to build together with a team of 17 of us, and then a group of about the same number from the village. And we all worked together on this project over a few days, and it was an incredible experience. What I wanted to share with you this morning is some of what this meant to me, because it's interesting that the project was named after my daughter and was inspired by my daughter and begun by my parents, my father and stepmother, and my brother and sister-in-law. After she died, they wanted to do something with her memory. And one of the things that I've learned through that experience of losing a child is that when a child precedes her parents in death or his parents in death, it sort of flips things on its head. Normally our children will take our legacy forward in the world after we're gone. But when a child precedes you in death, you have their legacy in your hands. And so what my wife and I realized after our daughter died, Sienna, that it was such a painful experience, and what we realized was that our life could come apart at the seams. I could have, in the aftermath of her tragic and sudden loss that was so devastating, I could have lost my ministry. And one of the reasons I didn't was because of so many of you and the way that this church held me through all of that, and I'll never forget that. And I'm greatly indebted to all of you in this place for all of the support that I was given and my family was given during that time. But it could have destroyed our marriage. It was very hard on our marriage to lose a child like this and to go through that grief and to try to support each other and to be going through our own grief at the same time. Either one of us could have descended into, because the grief was so overwhelming, went into drugs or alcohol or tried to find other ways that could have become addictive or destructive to try to soothe that incredible pain, because it was no fun to wake up every morning and remember the loss that we were suffering. But what we realized was that we did not want her life story to be one where she came into the world for 3 wonderful years, shared so much joy and so much love, and then died, and then in the wake of her death, all kinds of destruction happened. Our marriage fell apart, my ministry fell apart, our lives descended into addiction or other troubles and struggles. That caused us to say, we really need to grieve well. We need to figure out what it's going to take to get through this, to feel the feelings, to seek out the support that we need to really go through this loss in a way that allows us to learn and grow and heal on the other end of it. We saw people and know people in our lives over time who lost a child or lost a loved one, and we could still see the pain on their face 20 years, 30 years later, that they just every day almost live with that. We said, I don't want that. I want to be able to live my life fully, and I know that my daughter wouldn't want her legacy to be that kind of an outcome. And so what we realized is that we wanted her legacy to be more than that. And so we did our work to try to grieve, and we were fortunate to have a lot of support in doing that and to move on with our lives. But then my parents showed us a great example, and my brother, of how you can take loss and tragedy and turn it into hope. Take grief and turn it into hope. And so they started this project so that her life now is something that has inspired the building of these schools. And so this year, 600 to 700 children in Guatemala and different villages throughout the mountains will be able to get an education and be in a classroom where they could learn and grow. And we understand that it's been thousands of children over the past 10 years since my daughter died that has been affected by this, and the impact will be generational, one generation after the next, on these families and within these villages. And that gives me a great sense of hope, and sort of redeems some of the pain a little bit, to know that this beautiful little child came into the world for 3 precious years, but that her life and what it inspired is something that will go on for a long time. It reminds me that it's not the length of a life that matters, it's the impact of a life. We could live for 100 years and not have much impact for love, and maybe have an impact for negativity. So really, it's really helped me learn so much about how to deal with any kind of grief, whether it's a parent or a friend or a sibling or a spouse. All death gives us the opportunity to grieve and learn and grow through it. And so I want to thank all of you, whether you contributed through a gift in the collection plate when we took a couple of collection plates, or whether you came out to the All Souls Gala in 2015 and supported that event. All that money went into us being able to build this school, and it means a great deal to me and to my family, and to all of us who were part of this project, and to the village that we were in. It reminds me of the quote that what we do for ourselves dies with us, but what we do for others remains even after we're gone, and goes on eternally. The last thing I want to say is that in the shamans, one of the things that the shamans do is that they take a journey, some kind of, their spirit takes a journey, or their soul as they understand it. So they go into a trance. A shaman will go into a trance, and in that trance, the understanding is that their soul travels to the other world or another world, and in that other world, they converse with spirits or whatever it is that they understand happens in this trance state. And then the idea is that they go there so that they could come back with some gift, some knowledge, some wisdom from the other world, some message. And I guess I just realized that our trip that we just went on, we went and we came back and we brought some gifts back to this life that we live, to this world. We went to another world, we came back with a gift. So may all our travels be so fruitful and so meaningful. And I just want to thank everybody for making this such a special, special trip, and so meaningful to me.